Hello and welcome. Today is Sunday, the second day of July 2017. My name is Derek and welcome to today's video, which is going to talk about the XBY chart and what I'm seeing, mathematics towards it, and yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I have a few buy orders that I want to talk about with XBY included in such, and well, this is day trading only, and it will remain day trading until about 1500, an intermediate term time frame. I'll be selling a little bit at 1500, looking for better bargains in the comparison to day trades where you buy at the high 500s and you sell at 650. Which, of course, you can see I did such today. And then long term, well, we'll be talking close to north of 3,000. We'll get to that within the chart. But short term, every single day the chart moves, I can at least be able to pick away at small gains, which is, I think, as a trader, something that is very important. And that means every single day I reduce my risk tolerance on its overall venture towards such. But as I'm trading today, I noticed as I had put a buy order in for 585 and a little bit got taken through, that while I was waiting, I go over to T-Lush and notice, you know what, this has got an interesting mathematical setup where if I buy this now at 4, and I really think this has got momentum to go high in the near term, that I could probably dish this off at around 8. Well, that's a 100% gain, a little less with the rake, and well, as long as I'm right a hair better than 50%, it's break even. If I'm right 60, 70, 80% with something like this, that's really good profit. So yeah, let's do it. Currently trading it at around 6, so we'll see how well it is. But that's something I like to think about. What can I find that can make me profit? Situation with just buying something at 1 Satoshi. And however you want to perceive any type of rewards, how far you want to go, how much you want to sell at different levels, how much you want to risk within it. Often, well, when you buy at 1, you can't sell immediately, so you really it's worth nothing, technically speaking, the way I look at it when you buy it, because what can you sell for it at this point? There is no such thing as a buy order that you can put in. You just got to buy the one. And once somebody sells that out, and once the ones are gone, then someone can put a buy order for 1 in. And that's what happens within these, we'll call them penny Satoshi charts. And if you play like, say, 100 of them, 400 of them, and then how's your reward strategy? Do you sell maybe 20% at 3? Do you try to sell some at 50 and 100? That's how high you want to go. Hey, there's lots of profitability that can be done by that. This situation unlucky, I mean, I was just feeling lucky, and I thought because of its name, it was really good. Not even maybe, no. No, this is a situation where when you have the bid-ask ratio, which was really, really off, where the bid was like 250 and then the sell was at like 500, 560. Wow. And it's been like that from what I see for like days. Okay, I'll get in on that. I'll try to buy at the low end and sell at the high ends and see how many times I can get back and forth within this. Because if I can sell this at 550, I'll try to buy back at whatever the low difference is, whether it's 250, 300, I don't care. And that's the strategy I used there. Let's move on to the XBY, a 9-hour time frame chart. And within such, it's been quite a while since this, and this is June 1st. There's no dates on here, but we're looking at what the chart setup shows. This was a June high, so it's been a month of just a whole bunch of grinding its way lower with a few but not so many rallies. There was this one. This was a significant one. Small one here, small here, and then a little bit here. And then this isn't much right now. Okay. And when I see this, I'm seeing what a lot of these cryptos do. They go up, they correct through these sideways manners. As you get to a situation of how many new buyers are going to come into the market, versus how many people are left to sell. That obviously once you've sold, then you are out and you can't sell anymore. Well, that's it. So you only get so many waves of sellers. And that's another reason why you get these movements like we've seen in here with the lower size candles. And as far as the way I play this, as long as the market moves and it doesn't go straight down with no return, then I'm going to be fine, because again, every single day where I can get moves where I can be able to sell at this point and then buy it back lower, sell at these points, and these types of days are so easy on a day trading level to be able to pick both the upper and lower ends, of course, to the right side of the fence. You also have a situation in here where you have a large sell that occurred to 400. And why would this constitute such a quick period of time? And the best answer, or the most likely answer, is a single holder or a group of holders at the same time, and with one person it's always the same time, just sells it all at once, and they just sell to whatever people are taking on the bid. They don't sell in a portion strategy, or they don't well, portion strategy means if, say, for example, you wanted to sell here and you have a whole bunch of tokens, you sell the market down maybe to here, and then you don't do anything. Obviously, maybe you put some sell orders in, because you want to sell, so you put your sell orders in. And once you get bidders come back in the market, and then you take it down again. And then what would happen is, instead of selling it from, like, say, 914 down to 400, you could sell it from like 914 down to 650 or something, and thus get better for your sale return. So you get a lot of situations where people really don't understand trading mechanisms, and like in the game of poker, they're going to be making mistakes in which you can capitalize on. For example, here's another one. And let's assume someone wants to sell a large portion. And there's 3 different places you can sell this at. And the place where they have their XBY, they see, oh, somebody has a sale order, say now for 600. And they want to sell, say, something large, a decent amount, like $250,000, 100,000 even, and anything higher than that, at, say, that price, 600. Thing is there's only, say, a few thousand, maybe even a few hundred that are available at that number. So they'll push sell 600. I want to sell 250,000. Boom. And what happens is they'll sell about 50 or 100 or a few thousand immediately, and the rest will go into an order. Well, now in a situation where the market would be clearly higher on other spectrums, that gives the early birds, well, most likely would be a lower traded exchange, to be able to get super bargains. You can notice this on the major codes, Ethereum and Dash and all of those other ones, where on the smaller trading sites, if a market is rallying or selling off, you can oftentimes get the deals where, say, another code on a main exchange, like say Dash is like, say, I don't know, like 122, but it rallies all the way up to 130 like in a few minutes. Well, now you see you can buy it at 127 or 128, because the price is different from 4 minutes ago. And the same thing can be said here, where people will put in orders where if you see them, you can get amazing buying and selling opportunities. But you have to be able to see them to take advantage of them and understand, of course, the situation, understand market dynamics. And right now, as far as any type of movements, I really can't make any single short-term calls whatsoever. It's, at this stage, almost impossible. All I can do is just keep on buying low, selling high, and realizing that I am very, very confident that the odds that the price action will not only have a play up here as its next move, sort of like this was a move that went from 250 upward to 15, but even then do well after that. Just that when I talk about the next move, that means it's going to correct. So I talked here before about a little correction that should happen in here. No, that didn't happen. And then a correction that should happen in here. And that did happen. So what I would be thinking on any type of big move is that price action should probably breach 3,000, 3,170, as we can see in the screen, probably closer to 3,400 to 4,000 as an area where it would top off and then probably crash back down again, maybe come back down to here. Because one thing this has been doing has been the 3x rule. And even going back before this chart. And that is whatever the high is, you divide it by 3. As there was a high of 250 and it went down to 81. And then we had this high in at around, what was this? I think it did get up to 750 or 600, around 600 to 700, down to like 200 and change. And then 15 or 1600 already down to like even 400. So that's even a 4x move. And these types of these moves, man, these cryptos are showing wild moves all over the place. So having a price correction come from here to here, so be it. And you know what? If it's going to falter again, it wouldn't surprise me if it does come down here. And then it can take a while and do whatever trading range afterwards. That is definitely something that could, but I definitely wouldn't bet at even odds would happen where it has any kind of sustained breakdown below the support. What do I mean by sustained breakdown? Anything that goes down and pretty much stays there for an okay period of time. For example, this was not a sustained break below here. Or this move in here. This move wasn't sustained. Where this level is a sustained move in the 500, 600 up to 700 range. So therefore, what I'm basically going to do, regardless of how much lower it goes down, if it does, is keep my tokens relatively the same, increase them only by small amounts at any of these levels. And keyword, increase it by only small amounts, because within any of this range, I want to keep my tokens pretty much the same for the most part. I know that they go up and they go down. I realize that. But I have a number where I want them to be, and I usually stick within it. But I realize that when the market comes up towards here, after sustaining this sort of correction, that although not always guaranteed, it's very difficult sometimes where, you know what, I gotta get rid of some tokens. Why? Because I want to sell here and I want to buy it all back in here. Not this 10%, 8%, 15% kind of nonsense. No, I'm looking now for like 25, 30% kind of moves. And that's like how I would think more on the intermediate term. And then long term, okay, once we start to get here, yeah, let's start to liquidate out of some of the position. I know what usually happens. I'm going to sell. And I'm going to sell some more up in the, within the whole 3,000 area mechanism, with most of it being probably in the 34, 3,500 area as of now. That seems to be where my mathematics would state a next good rally would go. But what happens every single time? Well, usually when it hits those points is you can sell and get great bargains back. So the plan would be to sell a good portion, definitely less than half, but a good portion at this point. And then buy it back where it came from. And you know what, the way this thing goes, if it goes to 34, it wouldn't surprise me if it bounces down here and then even probably goes to 1,000, the way this thing goes. And there's even better buying opportunities. The same thing will play through. And if I get caught in one of those situations where I'm wrong with my resistance levels that I talk about, that I've pretty much been right in all occasions, but here, then, and quite frankly, I was still kind of right, because you could buy back even for where you were, as well as for cheaper. But throwing that aside, if I'm wrong, with my resistance call in the 3,000 to 4,000 area, then I can almost assure you, holy crap, we're going to see 5, 6, 8, and probably even close to 10,000. If, of course, that doesn't happen. Because when you don't resist or support an area where you're highly supposed to, it's going to continue further and it's going to be big. Because the big winners, the big movements happen at the end. That's what they've talked about in economics for so long. You look at the size of this gain. That's usually how it works. And you can, I mean, the same thing is true when you look at the downside like this on so many levels, that if you, like I say, you go to 3,000, it doesn't resist. Oh my goodness, 4 days later, it's 9,500. And look at that day. Look at 2 days ago when it was up 145%. And those are the things you start talking about when those situations occur. But when what usually happens, which would probably on that situation, which probably could take a while from now, but who knows with how fast these things have moved, not only here, but all these other cryptos, when they get rolling, holy crap, do they get rolling. And the whole thing is, you can try to time getting in, and if you can do it, congratulations. But if you buy after it's corrected, and you just wait, whether you wait an hour, a day, a week, a month, a season, it'll end up being worth it. At least mathematically, I think I see it as such. So therefore, if you sell at, say, 34 and you buy back here, that enables you to get tokens back at a cheaper price, which means you can profit take. You can get more tokens back, which I'm the favorite of the former, where if I were to say sell, well, for every token I sell, I'm going to buy one back. And the remainder will be Bitcoin profit. But you could go the strategy where I sold a Bitcoin worth here. I'm going to buy a Bitcoin worth here. And you're going to notice that you get maybe twice as many tokens back, because a Bitcoin worth is twice as much here as it is here. So that's different ways. And then you can go right in the middle where, okay, I sold a Bitcoin's worth here, and I'm going to buy 3/4 or 4/5 worth of the Bitcoin here, which means that's my profit, the remainder. And you'll notice you have more tokens than you sold. So I sold, say, 100,000 here, and I'm going to buy back 80, or I'm going to buy 125,000, 130,000, something like that. Different strategies, see what suits yourself. But that's what I like to do, is try to get in on these higher prices. The only problem I seem to have is I get antsy and I'll just buy. So my problem would be I'll sell here, then I'll start buying at 25 and 20, because I know technically I'm getting a deal. And yeah, but you're also losing out on major gains. But that's one strategy too, is just insuring yourself, and you just put buy orders everywhere kind of deal. So no matter what, you're at least going to be buying back on the cheaper on situations like that. But if it keeps going higher, that's why I'm selling less than half. Oh, so it goes to 6, 8, 9. Well, one thing I say to myself as a trader is, what level would you run out? And quite frankly, I'd probably run out between 15 to 20,000. I don't. If it goes straight up, I don't see how I could not be out by 15 to 20,000. Because every time it goes up more, I'm going to sell a bit more. And in my early days of doing the crypto trading anyway, I noticed that within the Dash rally in March, that I was doing a very good job of running out. And I realized to myself, man, I got to do better at this. So I'm better at that now. So I now plan to myself, okay, I'm going to have this many tokens left at 3. So if it goes straight up, that means we're going to go to 10. So I'm going to want to sell this many, probably at the 5 handle this, the 7 handle that, the 8 and the 10. Okay, so I'll be left with that. Then after that, I'll probably want to see or think maybe 20, 25. And you know what, that's it. I'm just going to sell out. So that's the type of stuff that I would think about. But I don't expect that to happen, which is why I'm gratefully willing to be selling at those key points. And I'm also looking at this like a poker tournament, where you put up a decent sized risk for what you're hoping is a very good return, because the amount of X score you can gain with a major field of players like the World Series of Poker, which I think will be starting soon now that it's the start of July. But throwing that aside, you put up 10,000 US dollars with thousands of people. There's many people that are going to win a few $1,000,000, and then you could win hundreds of thousands, or maybe just make a bit more than your entry, which is where I stand right now. Because from what I've put into this, I've barely withdrew more away from the sites where that cannot go within my risk. But I've barely taken much out at all. So I got a very decent risk tolerance, but I realized mathematically a lot of this stuff just seems to be working. And I hear a lot of stuff about things like ant shares, for example, and why it's so good, and just a lot of other ones. And I'm thinking, you know what? These guys seem to be on the same case with a lot of it. But I mean, it's French to me with the like a proof of signature and all the mathematical and well, just the programming itself. When we're talking all the things that they're doing, the nodes, and I mean, I know they exist, and I do mathematical programming myself, and I was addicted to basic programming throughout the 1980s and 1990s. So I love all that stuff. But I do have a hard time understanding it, and I feel that this thing is going to have some great gains, that it's worth taking that risk, and the equity compared to, say, putting 10,000 into the World Series of Poker. Well, you know what? That is much better. So that's exactly how I'm doing it. And we'll see how it all works out within it. But you know what, though? You play the game, and you play the game to win. You make mathematical decisions that you feel are to your advantage. And the way I look at the profit-taking level, if I sell this amount here, and then this amount at whatever, I'll have a decent profit. So I don't know what the profit returns will be, but I know if it goes to here, back again, I'm going to be doing a lot better here than I was in here. Right now, I'm at the same level as I would have been, say, right around here somewhere. Just because I'm able to get little day trades in and out, sell a bit here. And when I get back to, say, here even, the previous high, I'll be doing a lot better than this point. And the more this market can chop up and down, quite frankly, is, of course, for me, a profitable situation. Because if the market just doesn't move, and there was some time where this thing just hasn't been moving much, that really does limit the amount that you can trade on a day-to-day basis. Like in here, I can't do anything really in here. There's really, like, what can I do? But anyway, I've been rambling on for quite some time. I just wanted to give you my approach within the situation, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.